You muted, bro. You're muted.
Doing today, man. Damn, I'm muted.
What's good, bro? No. I said it, you took it off at the right time, but yeah, I can hear you now. Glad to be back. Another episode. Did a little fun show last night with Jeff, so ready to talk some football and get to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same here. Definitely got a recap because I watched the show with you and Jeff as well. Shout out to Jeff and Mo, from Up in Flames, everybody on Off the Ball Network. It was a great show. We're going to be talking about some of the similar things as well today. Of course, with our own little spin. Of course, we're going to recap some of the games last week. It was we both said it was going to be way different than wild card weekend. That last weekend we probably get the best games that we see out of all playoffs possibly, and they didn't disappoint. So definitely gonna recap on that. Also talk about some of the guys that won't be ever making it to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Harden possibly wanting out of Brooklyn, and a few more things as well. But before we get to that, of course, gotta drop the tape.
Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win!
Don't you open your mouth about the best, or I'm gonna shut it for you real quick. LOB.
Listen, we talking about practice, not a game. We talking about practice.
Lewis gets it to LeBron for three for the win. Yes! LeBron James at the buzzer.
Pass is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win it!
What was your mindset when you stepped in the batter's box?
Go yard. I mean, I'm a pitcher. Why not swing as hard as I can? I got nothing to lose.
It's nothing to man above. Don't put you in situations that you can't handle. Instead of saying, why me? They're saying this is what he want me to do. And, Cleveland! This is for you!
The way we approach the game is the same way we approach life. You do the right thing. You make the right play. Make the right play. And in life, it's the same thing. What do you feel in your heart is the right thing to do? And you do that. It seems so simple, but sometimes the simplest things are the hardest things to do. And I think it's just that.
Welcome to
What?
The game. To me.
All right, we're back. Hopefully, this delay don't, hopefully everybody's not delayed. I'm not delayed, but everybody can stick with us through it. But of course, like I said, we're gonna get into recapping the divisional games of last week. We had a few good outcomes for certain teams. Other teams happened. We didn't expect certain ones to lose, but like I said, I wanted to hit on that first. Thad, 3 games that we like I said, or out of 3 games, 2 of the outcomes I don't think we expected to happen. Of course, the Bengals being the Titans, 49ers being the Packers. The Bucks. The Bucks end up coming back, falling short to the Rams, and then probably one of the games of the year, the Bills falling short against Kansas City. Out of those games, 3 of those games, the endings could have definitely gone a lot differently. Your take on some of them. Basically, I feel like I said, the Bills won, 13 seconds left. That's a tough loss. Ryan Tannehill with, I think, 26 seconds left through an interception. Somewhere like 26 or 30 seconds left through an interception. That's a tough one as well. And then Todd Bowles in a blitz when all he really had to do was play cover 3. Going over the top, Cooper Kupp. That's a tough loss as well. So out of the 3 losses, which one, well, not first, I guess, who do you put the blame on, but which one do you think, who do you sold the most? Which one do you think is the tougher loss out of the 3?
This one's tough. I'm going to take 2 just because I'm going to go with the Bills situation and the Bucs situation. The Bills, number 1 defense all year. All you had to do, 13 seconds. You had 13 seconds left. You allowed them to go 40 yards to get in field goal position to tie the game, and then allow them to go 75 yards with just pretty much ease. They didn't get stopped at all. They didn't get slowed down. I don't even think they faced a 3rd down on that drive. So the Bills definitely sold the most because the way their defense played all year, as a Bills fan, you usually expect them to come through in that moment. And the second one's Todd Bowles. Ryan Tannehill, I never thought he was that great, so he didn't really sold. He just, underperformed a little bit. But Todd Bowles, all game, momentum's on their side. They're about to pull a Falcons on y'all, literally. And my thing was if they stopped them and the game went to OT, the Bucs got the ball, they were going to win the game. Momentum was on their side, everything. And Todd Bowles sent an all-out blitz in a bad situation, ran cover 0. And all game there was a stat saying that was his first time sending 6 or 7 on pressure. And he decided to do it at one of the most crucial stages of the game, and it cost him. So I'm going to go with those two. But if I had to choose one, like if I was a fan, would say which loss hurt the most, I would go with the Bills. If you're a Bills fan, you think the game's wrapped up. You think it's over. First AFC championship in Buffalo in years. Bills Mafia is going crazy. They're jumping on tables, and then you send it to crib because you allow 40 yards in 13 seconds. So I'm going to go with the Bills if I had to choose. But the Bucs and Bills, they're both equally awful.
Yeah, I can say that as well. I think I went with the Bills one just for that sake because I didn't think it is Patrick Mahomes. We hold him as in high regards. He's MVP, Super Bowl champ. One of the better quarterbacks I've seen in the game. So it's something that we can not bat an eye at, but it's like 13 seconds. You're not expecting him to really get them in field goal range, especially like you said after how great the Bills defense had been, how great they have been playing. Their rating and rank throughout the year. You just wasn't expecting 13 seconds left on the clock for Patrick Mahomes to be able to get 2 quick passes off, even though they did have all their timeouts. You still don't expect that to happen. And given as that least amount of time, it's like how I know Josh Allen's on the sideline just sitting there's no way we literally that means you really gotta give him 2-3 seconds left on the clock for him not to be able to do anything. And that's just ridiculous in itself. You're almost so far under 10 seconds. So I went with the Bills just for that fact as well. It's this is what their there's their third meeting in the last 4 years. And then 2 the last 2 years has been the conference champion or almost a conference championship. I know this was the divisional round, but you face them 3 of the last 4 years in playoffs. You fall short each and every time, and this just felt like their best shot. I felt like both sides of the ball, play as great of a game as they could, and they still fall short with 13 seconds left to be able to get them in field goal range, and Kansas City takes it. Todd Bowles, it wasn't the greatest idea to be aggressive in that moment. You had been struggling all game, defense had been struggling all game, offense had been struggling all game. You lucked up and got into that position. The Rams just didn't know how to put the game away, but you just can't send a blitz with that least amount of time, and in that field position, you got to just kind of play for overtime, keep everything in front of you, but obviously not give up too much. You went over top. Cooper Kupp got behind the safety. I honestly don't know what Winfield was doing either. It's his eyes were just stuck in the backfield. He had to see Cooper Kupp coming down the hash towards him, but that's another fact for another story. But with Ryan Tannehill, I can see he had been struggling all game. He didn't play the greatest of games. Henry just come back from injury, didn't have the greatest of games either. Bengals defense just stepped up, but and they had to fight back to even get into that position anyway. But kind of sucked. The air just probably got sucked out of that stadium when they seen that interception go up. But I definitely went with the Bills just for that factor. It's just 13 seconds left. What more could you have asked Josh Allen on the opposite side to do? You just had to stop him for literally probably 2 to 3 plays, maybe 4 with the timeouts, but still, that one definitely had to hurt. But I'm definitely with you on the Todd Bowles one as well. You just can't sit no blitz. After fighting that hard to come back, and then just one play later, everything just gets stuck out of there. But I don't know. It's definitely tough for all 3 squads, and all 3 squads, went home obviously unhappy and have certain things that they're gonna have to deal with during the offseason. Some teams got more answers than others, but so that's another segment or another question for another day. But next, I wanted to move on. Didn't really sell. I guess you can say that this special team sold for sure because that's really the only reason that they lost. But Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately, time may be up in Green Bay, but time in the playoffs this year is definitely over with. Only was able to put up 10 points against a pretty stacked San Francisco defense, but they were at home. Something or nothing. Rodgers can't get past the 49ers? Obviously, he possibly maybe moving on retiring wise, maybe moving on to a different team. But what do you think about, and that video resurfaced, of course, of him, saying that the 49ers will regret not drafting him. And it just seems like, I guess for them, it's not the case because they're 5-0 against him. What do you think? Rodgers can't get past the 49ers. Is this something or nothing?
I usually always do this when you ask something or nothing. I think it's both. Like it is something, but I don't physically think like, Aaron's thinking like, man, I can't get past the 49ers. It's just something they do that I can't beat them. It's not that. He beat them in the regular season. It's just maybe bad luck in a way. I don't know, but they have his number. 0-4 in the playoffs. He got stomped in the NFC Championship a couple years ago. This year, he had a great shot, to once again have one home playoff game left to go to the Super Bowl, and he couldn't get the job done. I'm not going to discredit the 49ers too much because D'Amico Ryans called a great game plan, but maybe it is something. Maybe it is something. I don't think there is kryptonite. Like, I really just don't know what it is. I don't know if it's him or it's just his team. But for now, I'm going to go with his team. They just can't get over that hump. And they really should have won this game. That's what frustrates me, though. Like, we wouldn't be having this conversation about him being 0-4 against the 49ers or him with the 49ers being his kryptonite. Like, as long as, they make that field goal before the half, they don't allow a block punt for Rams next week. So it's unfortunate, but for now, I'm going to go with something if I had to, choose between the two.
Yeah, it's for sure something. I'd say that as well. I mean, at least it was a lot closer of a game than it was, 2 years ago? And
they got ran
off the field. But, yeah. I don't know if it was the same feeling for you, but for me, like, the game was, it wasn't boring. It was definitely, it was a battle. It was back and forth, and then it started to get snowy. I knew the offense would subside then, but for some reason, I never thought like the whole way through, even though it was like 10-3 or 10-0 most of the game, I was like, I never had a feeling like the 49ers would like be able to win that game. I was like, all right, Green Bay still got it in the bag, like no matter what. And then obviously fourth quarter, last like 6-7 minutes, I'm still kind of like in the same feeling, same boat. I'm like, even if they tie it up, whatever, or take the lead, however, I'm like, Rodgers still probably, be able to pull something off and, get them in field goal range or, get a last-second touchdown, whatever the case may be. But, it sucks because, like, you haven't got to put some blame on him in the offense. Like, you can't only put up 10 points. And they did get to the red zone a good amount of times. Like you said, one was a block field goal. And then I feel like they got into the red zone, then went for it on fourth and didn't get it. It was something happened. I don't know if it was another block or a missed field goal. It was something. But I know they got back in the red zone and wasn't able to put points on the board, like closer to the end of the game in the second half. But it just sucks that it got lost by special teams in a sense. Like I don't want can't give Rodgers a pass, but like in a sense it's like, damn, what are you supposed to do? Like at least get the ball past the 30-40 yard line, so they're not like packed in to where they can send an all out block punt team or whatever the case may be, and block it to be able to score that touchdown. But still, it's like the whole game's kind of was lost, at least towards the end, obviously off of special teams, and it kind of sucks. But definitely something because you're 0-5 against the team. You got that one Super Bowl ring. You've been trying to get back, and you just can't get there. You lose to the 49ers 4 times. In your playoff career, you lose to the Falcons, get blown out by them. One year, what was the Bucks?
Bucks last year. Bucks
one of the years. I forgot. Last year. So, so it definitely sucks. Like I think you said yesterday on the show, wanted to one-up Favre, get the franchise a second Super Bowl ring, but it just doesn't seem to work out. And we don't know where he's going next year. Like I said, he possibly could retire. Some have been saying Steelers may trade for him. Some I don't want to spoil it, but next when we talk about Brady, some say if Brady retires, he may go to the Bucks. We don't know where he's going, but we just can conclude that more than likely he's not going to be in Green Bay. But I don't know. I definitely think it's something as well, especially it being there. Thinking about this and then everything else that has happened, obviously them never drafting him a first-round weapon, all the stuff that happened during the offseason, everything that was happening during this season, him going on podcasts, doing podcasts and speaking, just being more vocal than we've ever really seen him in the media this past year. definitely got to be something, and then it's going to be something obviously when he more than likely leaves and goes to a different franchise and does what he does there. But we'll definitely see in the next coming months. But next, something or nothing. Forgot, put the wrong one up. But next, something or nothing. Bonds, Clemens, Rose, out of the Hall of Fame. They maxed out. I believe they gave him a 10-year tenure on the ballot, but all of them get voted off. Obviously for their infamously known usage of PED, performance enhancing drugs, obviously steroids and everything. So it's just crazy to me. Obviously you got leading hitter all time Pete Rose, not in Hall of Fame, leading home run hitter and Barry Bonds, not in Hall of Fame. And then 1 year stature pitchers, Roger Clemens, not in the Hall of Fame as well. So something or nothing. All three of these guys never ever going to be ever able to be voted into the Hall of Fame. What do you think?
It's definitely something. I don't know too much about the guy in the middle, but Barry Bonds we all know, and Roger Clemens we all know. It's rough because there's a lot of people that get away with it. And it's about how you're perceived and how how they like you and how the fans perceive you. David Ortiz, I love Big Papi, but he did the same thing. But the Red Sox being one of those talked about franchises, he gets a pass. But it's unfortunate. Roger Clemens had two great runs with the Red Sox and with the Yankees. He was a dominant pitcher in his time and a great era of pitching. And then, Barry Bonds, he pretty much blew every record out the books. He had like 73 home runs in a year. I know he shattered the home run record. And it's just unfortunate that they talk about the steroids. Before he got caught with the steroids, he was a good player before the steroids. Let's not act like this. It took him to a different level to a certain extent, but he's still one of the greatest hitters we've ever seen. His time in Pittsburgh, he was still a good player before he got traded to the Giants. And, I think that this stuff is a little bit blown out of proportion because there's a lot of people that use steroids. Like Alex Rodriguez, that was one of my favorite players growing up. I know he used steroids. Are they going to keep him out the Hall of Fame for it? So it's an unfortunate situation. And I definitely think it's something. These guys should be in there. You shouldn't have your best hitter or one of your best hitters and one of your best overall players of all time not in the Hall of Fame. That's where the best players go. So it's definitely something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's just everybody always say this is one of the reasons why they hate baseball. Don't want to watch baseball. It's just America's pastime. It's like the old America type sport, if you know what I mean. But it's definitely it's something, and it sucks because like you said, you have record holders not in the Hall of Fame. It's like, what are we doing here? People that put the game on the map, obviously figures of the game, people that younger people even know and recognize, and they haven't played obviously in 10 plus years. It's like these guys aren't in the Hall of Fame because they won't ever be able to touch the Hall of Fame because their tenure possibility is maxed out. So it definitely sucks. Like I said, something has to change. Like I said, there's guys that use steroids all the time, everywhere, have been using them for years and years and years. And I'm pretty sure there's a good amount that have used them that's in the Hall of Fame as of now. So it's like, why are these guys being castrated and singled out and not being able to not get that pass, but in a sense get that pass as well. So it definitely kind of stupid. Like I said, you have all time greats not in the Hall of Fame, and that's literally what it's meant for. It's just ridiculous. But that's what baseball is. That's what it's been about. And unfortunately, I don't know if it ever will change or can change. But hop back into football real quick. Says something or nothing. Brady possibly retiring. He quoted and spoke about one of his late and great friends, and also one of late and great athletes. And it was the 2-year anniversary yesterday of Kobe Bryant's passing. Rest in peace to him and Gigi. But quoted him when talked about his future, in football and outside of football. And some people are saying he's possibly going to retire. Even during the broadcast, they were saying there was rumblings of him possibly it being his last year, whether they win or lose as well. So something or nothing. Brady retiring. And do you think he retires, or do you think he comes back in one last hurrah?
I have two answers to that. To answer the question, I think it's something, but I don't think he retires. I think it's something because all these in the years past, he's talked about want to play to 45. He's never questioned it. There's never been, hesitation. When are you playing next year? Yes, of course, I want to play 5 more years. Or Like I'm pretty sure there's been thought behind it, but he's just giving a quick answer like, yes, I'm playing. And this year, he talks about family and stuff, what he owes his wife, raising the kids and stuff, and she doesn't like seeing him get hit. He's just kind of realizing, it's about to be the end of his time. He's getting old. He can't play this game forever. There's not 3 more years left in his career. There's maybe 1 or maybe 2. So, I think he's just a little emotional thinking about his football mortality and just thinking about, the career he's put on for everybody to watch. But I don't think he retires. The competitor in him, the way they lost, I mean, I could see him retiring that way, but, why not have one more crack at it? It's not like you're playing with a bunch of old guys. You're the only old guy. Like, all your weapons, Chris Godwin got franchise tag, but they're likely to work something out if Brady wants him around. You still got Mike Evans. You still got Gronk, who's going to play with you if you play. If you come back, he's going to come back. And then we still got O.J. Howard, who's kind of in the doghouse, and Cameron Brate, Leonard Fournette. A lot of young, talented guys. So he has the pieces to help, make one more run at it. And the NFC is not that heavy, quarterback-wise. They got Russ, who might get traded, probably not. Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray. They got some people, but not – he has a shot. I think the AFC is tougher than the NFC. Well, that's mainly because of quarterbacks, but it's just tougher to get through those great quarterback play. But I don't know, man. Like I said, it's something, but I don't think he retires. I think the competitor in him, we know he's one of the craziest competitors, and you have to be like that to make it as far as he has and been as great as he has. So I think he takes one more crack at it. He talks to Giselle, like, just 12 more months. I'm all yours. 12 more months. One more off season, one more season around this time. Hopefully they'll be playing in the Super Bowl. So 2 weeks from today, in a year, he'll be done. He'll be all yours for the family, for the kids. So I think he makes one more crack at it. I'd be very shocked if he retired. But I do think next year will be his last year.
Yeah. I definitely see that as well. Because, like I said, just him, the type of player he is, like you said, like the type of competitive edge he is, just everything about him. He just doesn't seem like the type to go out like this. And like you said, he has been talking about playing to 45. That's one more year for him. And like you said, honestly, that organization is going to, put pieces around him, whoever he wants around him, and they're going to, do whatever they need to do in order to get one more, ring out of him and his time. And I think that's a possibility. Like I said, just one more year. Like I said, their defense isn't like all they can do. Like their defense is pretty young. Like I said, it's just another year under their belt. All they can do is, get better and grow stronger. Offensively, like I said, the old guys are him and Gronk. Outside of that, everybody else is relatively young. Like I said, they'll do what they need to do in order to put the weapons around him. Whether it is give Fournette back, give Chris Godwin the deal he needs, whatever the case may be. Go out and get him another weapon during the draft. Like it's whatever they need, whatever he wants. Especially, like I said, one more year. And I think he does talk to Giselle. And it's like he can convince her. I'm pretty sure he's good in that department. And like I said, I think they go for one last run, one last hurrah, because like obviously this year there's a lot of distractions. Obviously the AB stuff, a lot of injuries, especially to their secondary and even to some of their positional players, especially towards the end of the year. So I feel like they can get it all back together, put it all back together. Obviously they're just 1 year removed from the Super Bowl, not losing really any pieces, obviously besides AP. So I think he does take one more shot at it because he's just the type to go out, riding out on his high horse. Like he wants to go out on top as a champ, and that's why I personally thought he would maybe do it last year. But obviously, the way it went last year, it's like, all right, yeah, he has another year on his contract. If they repeat this year, then he definitely needs to retire. Yeah, so got to run it back, got to do it 2 times just to, ensure that it wasn't Belichick and to let everybody know he's a GOAT. But obviously, it didn't happen that way. I think he gives it one more crack. They get it done next year. Well, whether he gets it done or not next year, the way he was getting hit this past Sunday, I think he needs to wrap it up regardless because, he's pretty durable. Obviously, he takes care of his body, but he was getting put on the ground. But obviously, if you're going against Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Floyd, you're gonna get put on the ground a few times, especially when you have a hampered center and right guard, left guard, whichever.
Right tackle,
so,
right tackle. Left tackle.
I think he does get one more year, like you said. Yeah, right tackle. Yeah, but either way, as a hampered offensive line, I think he does give it one more chance. I hope they don't get it done and he retires the way he does with his 7 rings, but we'll see. last little something or nothing that we got, moving into the basketball world. James Harden, I think it came out some reports 2 days ago, I want to say, that he doesn't like it in Brooklyn. He doesn't like the Kyrie situation of him being a part-time player. He just kind of, I guess the rumors kind of subsided today that he doesn't really want out, that he's committed to the Nets and Brooklyn organization. But, it did come out that his time there, he hasn't been happy with it. And obviously, a lot of people were saying, of course, you're going to be unhappy. Like, you got to pay New York taxes versus, being tax-free or not paying any taxes for however many years he was in Houston, like 7, 8, 9. And then obviously, just the living just different. Obviously, it's cold. Houston is obviously not as cold. It's just a different way of living in New York than it is down south. So, something or nothing, Harden possibly wanting out. Obviously,
Real quick. I just got to ask before you go. Like, I know your dad used to live in New York, or he still does. So you've been up there. Like, is it a difference in like Houston? I know it's probably more spaced out. He probably bought like a big little mansion in New York. You probably got to live in a high-rise condo or something like that, or a penthouse.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's the difference?
Yep. I mean, honestly, yeah, it's probably what it is. Like, for sure. Actually, the whole thing, everything is just different. Yeah, like, obviously your money doesn't stretch as long up north than it does down south. And, you can still get, like, he's probably still has like a wealthy, nice little home. Like, they don't look like, how houses look like in Georgia or in Houston or wherever down south. Like, they big and grand and got 10 rooms, 8 bathrooms, stuff like that. Like, there, like, he can possibly have that same stuff, but it's more like, it looks like a townhome almost sometimes, or like you said, a high rise. More likely he probably lives in a high rise apartment. Because I feel like I've seen people post like him being at specific like little gyms and stuff in the little high rise condos and stuff. So I think he just doesn't like the type of living it is. Like, obviously, he probably misses the strip clubs too. He probably just misses a bunch of stuff down that way. So I think that definitely has a factor in it. But basketball wise, playing wise, like, he probably feeling some type of way. Maybe he doesn't feel like he's surrounded by the greatest talent, with obviously his 2 other members of the big 3 not fully ever able to be playing with him and being there. Obviously, KD's hurt right now, and then Kyrie's a part-time player. So it's probably just a lot of stuff that he just dealing with. But like, if it is true that he wants out just because he don't like the living situation, that's kind of crazy. Like, you knew it. You wanted to go there. You wanted to play with those guys. Like, it's not like you ain't never been to New York. You know what you was going, the living conditions you was going to be in. So it's just weird to me. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's kind of something. I'm not going to make too big of a deal about it. I don't know. Is it the situation in New Jersey? Is it the living situation? Is it the way Kyrie being part time? He feels like team's not really locked in, and I don't think he thinks that they can't win a championship. It's honestly confusing. I don't know where this really came from. I saw some rumors coming out. Kendrick Perkins as well saying like his camp said he wants to play with Joel Embiid. So I don't know what it is. I thought him and Katie were tight like this. I really, really just don't know what it is. And I kind of like him playing in this new role. Like, he's, doesn't have to dominate the ball all the time. But maybe he's not happy about something. I honestly do not know. But I think it's something for him to – I don't think his camp would, let these rumors get leaked out if there was nothing behind it. So I'm going to go something. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. I'm waiting to hear more from his camp once the season's over, or what led him to being slightly unhappy in Brooklyn. So, we'll see, but I'm going to say something for now.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to go with the something train as well. And it's, weird, obviously, because, more there are more, everybody's, he's saying like they're sold on trying to make a move for Harden during the offseason. And I don't know. I personally just don't think it's going to happen. I just think he's still going to ask for too much. Like, even though he's getting Harden back and whatever, and sending Ben out or whatever. I don't think it's I think he's going to try to make it like a one asset James Harden versus or sending out one, bringing in one, just a one versus one up trade, which I don't think is possible or is going to happen. And obviously, been sitting out a whole year. I've not seen anything from him since the playoffs. Like, he just be asking for too much. He's too crazy and wild of a GM. Like, he plays a certain game and he does it a certain way. And I still don't see, no matter what, even if they're sold on trying to get Harden, I still don't see it happening. I still don't see Brooklyn, send him out. I mean, obviously he's a free agent this upcoming year. I don't think he has obviously it's probably restricted or not restricted, sorry, an unrestricted free agency. He said that he's going to test it out, you know, no matter what, if he ends up back with the Nets or not. So I don't know. I don't think, obviously, 76ers would be well into the luxury tax if they aren't able to get rid of Ben, aren't able to get rid of Tobias and try to sign him. I just don't think that's going to work. So obviously it would have to be a sign and trade type deal, but I still think he asked for way too much and it just won't work. But like you said, it definitely is just weird, like how it kind of all came out of the blue. I mean, the Nets aren't per se struggling. I think they're still top 3 in the East. And obviously, like I said, KD's been out. So, that's kind of hurt them a little bit. And obviously, Kyrie's a part-time player. And I can see how that's a little frustrating, because, you can't build up that, team chemistry, that camaraderie, obviously on the court. And, there's going to be a different lineup each and every time you're out there, if you're not on the road or, you're going home and coming back each and every time. So, but it is definitely weird. But it's also weird because, like, if you don't like living in New York, I don't see how you're going to like living in Philly. Like, I feel like, they're not the same, but I feel like they're similar. Like, in the aspect that they're both up north, the type of city that they are, the type of people that live in the cities, like just they have a lot of similarities. So I don't really understand. Like I know it's not, he hasn't been said that he wants to go to Philly, but like if they make a move for him, it's like you have no choice. So I don't know what he wants to do, and I really don't know where he's coming from. But definitely weird overall. I know, like I said, today he said he's committed to the Nets in Brooklyn and wants to win there, but players say that type of stuff all the time, so we really don't know what's really on his mind. But next, of course, the last thing we're going to hit on, we're going to talk about these conference championship games this upcoming week. AFC, we got Kansas City, Bengals. I guess we'll start there. Expected to be a good game. It's going to be a rematch of, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say week 15 or 16, one of those weeks. But definitely towards the end of the year. Where the Bengals were able to come up on top in overtime with the last second field goal. So Kansas City, Cincinnati Bengals. What do you expect from this game, Pat?
I expect the Chiefs to come to play. It's hard to beat a team twice, 3 times, let alone twice in a season. And I feel like the Chiefs, the talk in the locker room is like, we feel like we had this game. We let this game get away from us. We were up double digits, I think 14-0 if I'm not mistaken. And it was just little things in that game. Some poor time management at times, the lack of ability to double team Jamar Chase. I think they've seen enough from the previous game. He had 11 catches for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I'm pretty sure they're going to double him. And most of those all came on Ward. So, hopefully having Honey Badger back will be big. But I just feel like, I don't know, I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I think this game is going to be a shootout, but they have to limit the Bengals have a lot of weapons. So it's going to be hard if you just take away Jamar Chase. They still have other guys you can get the ball to. But I think they need to they watch what Tennessee did. Chris Jones and Frank Clark are good pass rushers along with Melvin Ingram. They need to attack the quarterback. Joe Burrow's resilient. He's going to keep getting up from all these hits, but you have to keep hitting him, making him getting rid of the ball faster than he wants to, speeding him up a little bit. And I think they need to do that to have success. They're going to put up points. Joe Mixon's a good back. T. Higgins is good. Tyler Boyd's good. C.J. Uzomah's good. But you just got to do what you can to, beat Joe Burrow up. He got beat up last week, but he kept, he never flinched. He kept bouncing back. So with great quarterbacks like that, you're not going to be able to stop him every possession. But when you got Pat Mahomes on the other side, a couple turnovers or a couple 3-and-outs or a couple, quick possessions won't hurt. I don't really have too much to say. Like, on the defensive side of the ball, they just got to play better. You can't let Jamar Chase go for 266 yards. Like, he literally had more receiving yards than Pat Mahomes had passing yards. So that lets you know how crazy he went that day. And, just keep the pressure on. The Bengals defense is okay, but the Chiefs have a multitude of weapons. And Patrick Mahomes, since, the early parts of the season, he struggled just to check the ball down when teams were sitting in cover 2 and cover 4. But he's lived, he's watched the film from the Super Bowl in the early parts of the season. He's okay with, having 14-play drives, 15-play drives, and going methodically down the field. And their execution in the red zone is top tier. So if he can keep that up, not force anything. Like, he didn't throw a pass over 20 yards in the game last week, but he had one of his best games of the season. So that lets you know everything, you need to see. And I just think that they're going to force, Joe Burrow's played phenomenal in the playoffs. He didn't throw a touchdown last week, but he played a phenomenal game. I think he had his first, not shaky performance, but he had his first couple turnovers of the postseason with either, a strip sack or one of the young guys making plays, I will say this: Nick Bolton has been emerging linebacker for the Chiefs. He's made plays all, and I can see him, him or Willie Gay having a pick or so. So I'm gonna go Chiefs. I'm gonna go Chiefs 38-27. And Joe Burrow, he has a good game, but he has 2 costly turnovers that, ends up being the difference. Because I don't know, the Chiefs are going to punt the ball. They're going to get stopped every now and then, maybe by the Bengals. But it's hard, man, when they're on their A game. And I know they're feeling more confident than ever coming off that game for last week. So I'm gonna go Chiefs by 11.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. Like I said, especially the confidence, like you said, like the way you win, the way you force the game to go into overtime, and then the way you just drive down the field and just, win the game in overtime. Like I said, they're always going to have confidence, especially on the offensive side of the ball, no matter what's going on. But, real quick, shout out to Joe Burrow, like I said, even getting in position to even win that game. Like you said, he was on the ground more than like grass. Like that man got sacked 10 times. Like that job is ridiculous. Like, and we know, and we don't know Tennessee to have a good pass rush. Like that was the one thing we've been knocking on for a few years. Like they don't get any type of pressure on the quarterback, and they got to him in every way they wanted to on Saturday. But like I said, Bengals still was able to come out with a win. But that's just the blueprint, or one of the blueprints, for Kansas City. Like they obviously have better pass rushers, and like I said, Frank Clark, Melvin Ingram, Nick Bolton has been an emerging linebacker, like you said. They use him in the rush game a little bit as well. So, or pass rush game a little bit as well. So definitely, I can see them getting some pressure on Burrow. Maybe they change up the game plan real quick, and they like to hit, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins a few times. T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Sometimes with some screen passes, especially Jamar Chase, they like to just get the ball obviously to him and just in space. He's incredible because he's pretty fast. Anybody can get into him, but it definitely gonna be interesting to see like the the offensive game plan, defensive game plan, because like I said, the Chiefs they gotta find that week 6, 7 to like week 15, 16 type defense again. Like they gotta find that, because like I said, the Bengals have an offense that they can put up some points, and they got guys that can get free and can get loose. But like I said, the Chiefs, they've been here, done it before. I feel like they'll step up and, like you said, force a few costly turnovers, whether it's in the air, on the ground, whatever the case may be, or get some timely stops as well. And the Chiefs, like I said, Bengals, they invested in their defense this offseason, getting some guys, and obviously Trey Henderson, Eli Apple's played okay, and a few other guys that they've had there already in camp. And they've stepped up and played well as well. Like I said, they played them already. They played the Chiefs before. They know what to expect. They know the guys to look out for, and they have a game plan. So it's going to be an interesting game. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think, like I said, the Chiefs, like I said, has been there before. I think Patrick Mahomes and the crew, like I said, they're on cloud 9 after last week's win. So I don't think nothing's going to stop them from reaching the Super Bowl this year. So I'm going to go. I think it's going to be high scoring as well, too, because the first time they both matched up, I think it was 34-31. So I'm going to go Chiefs. I'm going to go Chiefs 30, 38, Bengals 31. Maybe that might be generous as well. It honestly could be a 2-touchdown game, to be honest. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs obviously winning and reaching the Super Bowl. But LA, San Fran, NFC West matchup. Another rematch from week 17? Yeah, week 18. Where obviously San Francisco storming back and beat LA. So obviously LA is looking at their chops for this one. Obviously San Francisco is probably looking at their chops as well. Bragging rights for the division, and obviously a chance to go to the Super Bowl. So what do you think about this matchup, and who do you think comes out on top?
This is a tough one for me because, I've been on the Rams train most of the season. They've had some tough spots where they've let me down with mediocre quarterback player, just not playing up to what they're capable of. And, you look at the game when they played in November where they got completely dominated 31-10. They got the ball ran down their throat. This was OBJ's first game as a Ram, I think, and they just didn't look the part. And we're like, do they have their number? Because the way Kyle Shanahan's able to utilize Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell, all those other guys, it's just phenomenal. And I really don't know what it is. They give Sean McVay a lot of trouble on the offensive side of the ball as well. But then you go to the Week 18 game, and the Rams are up if I'm not mistaken, at least 14, maybe 21-0, 17-0, dominating the game. And the 49ers had this just, amazing comeback where they just started to ride this momentum where Debo just took the game over pretty much. And Jimmy G had that clutch 2-minute drill to take the game to OT.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what is it? Like, do they have the Rams number? Maybe. But this time, I will say they have the guy to take away Debo Samuel and Jalen Ramsey, but the way Kyle Shanahan utilizes him, he'll put him in the backfield. He'll move him around to where Jalen Ramsey can't just take him out of the game. So that's where his creativity comes in. But I just think, it's the Rams' time. McVay's never beat them. They made the big trade, the big splash to bring in Matthew Stafford, all these, veteran guys. Brought Eric Weddle back from the couch, Von Miller. Put all these pieces together, and this is what you bring them together for, to get that Lombardi trophy. And I feel like, it's like I said earlier, it's hard to beat a team twice, but it's definitely hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. You know this team inside and out. You watch them on film to prepare for other teams that they play, like the common opponents you have. So you know this team inside and out. You know all their tendencies. And I think that McVay and the D coordinator finally puts together a game plan, a 60-minute game plan, not a 45-minute game plan, not a 40-minute game plan that dies down towards the mid-second half. And I think they make the necessary adjustments, to win. And let's not forget this. The Rams blew the lead last week, but that had nothing to do with Matthew Stafford. It wasn't like he was giving the game away. He was throwing picks. He had 2 fumbles that he had nothing to do with. The bad snap to all put him back in the game. Mm-hmm. And when they got to crunch time, he made the plays with what Sean McVay brought him in to do. In Detroit, he was a quality quarterback, just on a bad team. And sometimes he held them back, but for the most part, 75% of the time, they held him back. And for him to finally get with, a match made in heaven, Matthew Stafford was one of my favorite quarterbacks in college, playing at Georgia. So I just think that he puts together a perfect game because he's played well all postseason. Versus Arizona, he didn't have to do anything, but last week he made the throws he needed to. And I think the OBJ shows up big time. I know he's been better as a Ram than he was in Cleveland, but I think this might be his breakout game. And, having the NFC Championship game at home, your 3rd time playing this team, you've never beat them. I think the pressure's off. Like, I really think there's pressure on them, but I think they're more relaxed than they've ever been, playing San Fran. There's nothing to lose. You've seen this team before. There's nothing new that you're going to see. You just need to go out and execute your game plan and finish the drill. Don't go up 17 and let off. Sean McVay got a little, he wasn't as aggressive as he usually is when he's up. So I think he's going to keep his foot on the gas, especially from looking at the game last week. And I think the Rams, they find a way to win it. And for the 2nd year in a row, we have a team hosting the Super Bowl. The home team hosting the Super Bowl, like the Rams, it's their home Super Bowl. So I'm going to go – the score is the tough part because it's a divisional game. This game's going to go down to the wire. I'm going to go 31-29. I don't know how San Fran gets 29, but this game is going to go down to the wire, and I have to say, maybe Matt Gay walking it off. I don't know, or a game-winning touchdown, but I'm going to go Rams 31-29.
No, I definitely got a close one as well. I'm saying 28-24, and like you said, you made all the great points. Like you said, it's their 3rd time facing them there at home. I know the stadium's going to be rocking. And I know it was rumblings like obviously earlier in the year when they got Von Miller and OBJ. It's like, if the Rams don't win the Super Bowl, is this the biggest letdown? Is the biggest bust of a team? Like all this, all that, just because there's a bunch of names on there. But like, you still got to come together, got to come as a team. You say still coaching involved. It's a bunch of moving parts. And like I said, at the end of the day, all these guys are professionals. Like the team, lining up across them isn't no slouches either. So obviously, San Francisco 49ers, what they're 2 years removed from the Super Bowl, 3 years removed from the Super Bowl. 1 or 2. But either way, they ain't been there that long ago. And obviously, 2 years. Yeah. I had to make sure. But they're 2 years removed from the Super Bowl. So, obviously they're healthy. They have an experienced coach, across the sideline. Like I said, they faced each other so many times before. But, it definitely does feel like it's LA's time. Like I said, they brought Matthew Stafford in to do exactly what he did last week, and that's to make the timely throws, in clutch situations, and bring this team, to the promised land and get them a victory. That was Jared Goff. I'm not too sure how that would have went. It probably would have been playing for overtime or it would have been a pick. Who knows? So Definitely, like I said, it's Matthew Stafford's time. I think it's the Rams' time. I think they'll tighten up, like I said, on the defensive end. They'll tighten up on all three phases. And like I said, just not let up and let them back in the game. Like I said, it's playoff time. Whether they're up 20, whether they're up 30, I feel like Sean McVay got to continue to, go try to score. Because like I said, you just never know. And I feel like that's what happened. When they let up week 18, I think they was up. What, like 20 or 24 to 3 or 0? It was something crazy. Like it was up. I remember watching it, or not watching. I was watching different games in the corner of the screen, and all of a sudden I see 24-10, 24-17, 24-24, and it just goes in overtime and they end up winning. So they can't let their foot off the gas, but it definitely just feels like it's LA's time. It just seems like it's just set up for us to have an explosive offensive Super Bowl with the Chiefs and with LA. Bunch of big names. It's in LA. Like I said, a bunch of big names. It's in LA. Obviously, two high quality quarterbacks, high quality offenses, quality receivers everywhere, and two and names on the defensive end as well. Just seems like it's just set up for a Super Bowl type or a Hollywood type Super Bowl, and obviously, like you said, it's in LA. So definitely expect LA to come out on top, Chiefs come out on top, and we just have a Super Bowl to remember, hopefully.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think you said you wanted to add something.
Yeah, I did. My fault. I don't know, the screen buffered for a second, so I didn't know if we were still talking. But I was just gonna say, like, in this Rams game, this is gonna be the time where Jimmy G finally hurts them. His numbers haven't been pretty, but he's done what he had to do to get the dubs. It's all about dubs at the end of the day. Not only the nerds and I wouldn't even say the casuals, but there's a lot of people that just look at the box score and that determines if you had a good game or bad game, and that's not how it goes. But this is the game where Jimmy G finally hurts them. The Rams D line is pretty crazy. Von Miller's getting back in his groove. He's not 2015 Von, but he's showing flashes at the right time. Leonard Floyd, and then you got Aaron Donald, who's just a game breaker. Again, the Bucs, who have one of the top 5 O-lines in the league, he just he had their way with Ryan Jensen and the whole entire crew, Ali Marpet, all of them. And I think they get to Jimmy G, and he made some questionable throws that should have been picked off. And I think against his Rams secondary, if they can get Taylor Rapp back, Eric Weddle, the smart mind he is, especially Jalen Ramsey too. I think they're going to get it. I think he's going to have. This is the game where he has the costly turnover. Like there's the arguments about Jimmy G holding it back, blah blah blah. This is the game where he's going to be the reason why they lost. So he's going to make a couple, errant throws or bad decisions to where they cost them in the end. And Cam Akers will not fumble the ball.
That is true. Like you said, there's been rumblings of that. Oh, hopefully you don't. Yeah, because I was like, again a little loose-handed with it. Like he's been running well, but like I say, he almost cost them one for sure. But like you say, if it is true, Jimmy G, this is the week that he cost them. It's been rumblings even coming into the year. Obviously, they drafted Trey Lance for a reason. Are they going to move off him? Are they going to trade him? Is somebody going to trade for him? It's crazy. They say everybody says all he does is win, but then, it's obviously question marks, about his game, his limitations, and like you said, possibly holding teams back from, a Super Bowl. So we will see. Like I say, it definitely is a big time spot for him. It's a big time spot for Matt Stafford, and it's going to be a big time game. And like I say, hopefully our predictions are right. I want to see LA and Kansas City at this point. I forgot what my predictions were at the beginning of the year. I think it was Green Bay and Kansas City. But like I said, just hopefully we're in for two more good games, 2 more good conference championships, and then hopefully a good Super Bowl as well. But that pretty much does it for today. I don't know if there is anything that's been grinding your gears this week. But like I said, this is one of the new ways that we're gonna end off the show. So anything that's been grinding your gears this week, Dad?
Just for this week, all right. We had a great game, great Sunday. Both games really had everybody, on their feet. Like I treated the game kind of like it was my team playing. Like I wasn't nervous, but I was just antsy, like just to see the outcome and all that. But what ground my gears this week was, we had a great game. Everybody's talking about the game on Twitter, and then people get to complaining about the overtime rules and stuff. And then I know, you want to see a great product, a great finish to the game, 2 high flying offenses going at it. But at the end of the day, you got to realize that this is football. And you play defense, and people will always say the great coaches and coaches we had say defense wins championships. Why are you complaining about the overtime rules? I just don't get people complaining about the overtime rules in that situation. You know, you had the number one defense all year.
Mm-hmm.
You showed up time and time again, and in the most clutch situation, you did it, whether it's coaching mixed with players not being in the right spot and just not making great decisions. But it is what it is. You can't complain. You had a chance to host the AFC Championship game, and you folded. You know, think about this. 13 seconds left. If you're a Falcons fan, y'all have the number one defense in the league. 13 seconds left, and the team has to go 45 yards to tie. You're like, oh, yeah, we got this. We going to the NFC Championship or the Bowl. And you fold. So people just complaining. And then the fact that they let them go 75 yards with no ease, like no resistance in overtime, it is what it is. People need to stop complaining. Defense wins championships, and your defense, the best defense in the league, didn't show up. So I just think people need to stop crying. And the Bills should have played some defense. You know, I felt for him. I especially felt for Josh Allen as a quarterback. Like the way he played, and for his defense to let him down when they've helped him out all season, it sucks. But people need to stop crying about the overtime rules. I like them. Like, I hated the rule where you could just kick a field goal and the game will be over. Like, I thought that was pretty lame. But
yeah, that one did suck.
But yeah, giving both teams an opportunity to touch the ball. If your all you had to do was hold them to a field goal, not a touchdown. You can let them go 74 yards, but if you don't let them get in the end zone, Josh Allen touches the ball again. And this is not OT like the regular season. They're going to play until they determine the winner. So, you know, for them to complain about that, I just thought it was kind of weak. I understood because I wanted the game to keep going on, but you got to play defense. That was a little longer than it was expected. Yeah. I expected it to be, but yeah, you just got to play defense. Defense wins championship. And you got the best defense in the league, so you got.
You're right on that. That's facts.
But yeah, that's all I got.
That's facts. Like you said, it definitely was a big complaint. Big complaint. Like you've seen complaints from everybody. Like obviously, just regular people. You've seen it from, you know, sports center hosts and show hosts and Fox Sports. Like you've seen it from everybody, and that's definitely a big point. Like you said, that's the biggest change that I like, and that it makes me fine with it. Like yeah, obviously, like you said, you want to kind of see the game go on. You know, go back and forth. Like it can't be like college rules. Like it can't be, you know, line up on the 25 and everybody keeps going or whatever. I know they even changed overtime rules this past year in college football, but you know, if you just held them to a field goal, like you say, he gets the ball back and they possibly go down and score. And like the way they was straightening up the Chiefs defense, you know, it was a possibility that Josh Allen would have went down and scored if you just keep, you know, the Chiefs out of the end zone. So I definitely agree with that. It's definitely facts, but. What grinds my gears this week, and it actually just happened yesterday, is Sean Payton. He grinds my gears. Like, to me, I don't know what it is. It just feels like one of those, urban, like, not really like Urban Meyer, because Urban Meyer just really, he was bugging this year and just in general. But it feels like that when Urban Meyer left Florida type situation, he just felt like there was a lot. Like, for him, I know it's like, all right, you know, Drew just retired, you know, Michael Thomas didn't play all year. You know, you got a decent group, but it's like you just don't really have the answers. You gave Taysom Hill all that money. You know, obviously we don't know if they're going to bring back J-Bo or not. It's just like a bunch. I feel like that's going on. He just don't want to deal with it, and that's why he stepped away. Like I don't like you got it. Somebody's going to have to come with the answer for me because I don't know. I don't really know or get the reason why specifically he's stepping away. Like besides just waiting a year out and then hoping for a better opportunity next year, kind of just waiting to see kind of the scope, see what teams hit him up, and then go somewhere else. And even Mo said it last night. He was like, we might wait a year, 365 days, and, you know, Sean Payton may come over to Cowboy Nation and figure everything out. Like, so y'all going to have to tell me something, because I just feel like it's giving me those Urban Meyer leaving Florida type vibes, excuses like, oh, I got a heart attack, whatever the case may be. Like, I got health problems I got to worry about. And then a year later ended up in Ohio State and then bringing the national championship stuff. Like it's just something that's going on. He just don't want to deal with the turnover that's happening in New Orleans, and he just don't know how to deal with it. Like I said, they gave money to people that they shouldn't have probably gave money to. They've been in cap hell. You know, they don't have a franchise quarterback right now. It just doesn't look like it's the greatest times to be a New Orleans State, and that's why I'm thinking he's leaving. Somebody can prove me wrong though, but I think that's why he's out of there.
Nah, bro, you're not crazy. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but coaches, they're regular humans like us. Like, I don't know what analogy I could give, but like, you know, in high school, say you're like a 4-star, 5-star, the best player on the team. and you're like a junior or sophomore, and that senior class is really, really good. But once they all leave, like you looking at the team next year, like, yo, we're about to go 2-8, 1-9. Like, I need to go ahead and transfer. Sean Payton's a year ahead of the curve. They're 74 million or 72 million over the cap. Jameis is my guy, but he's not we're set for the next 10 years with him as quarterback. And then you got an agent roster in a lot of spots. So I get it, man. He got to do to save his legacy. You know, he got that one ring. He's with Drew, but Drew's gone. He's a good coach. I still think he's a really good coach, but he's like, man, they're not about to have me out here looking like a scrub. People blaming me, you know, for what's going on in the Saints franchise. So he got up out of there. I'm kind of with you, though. I don't know. He's a finesser. So he's like, let me go ahead and get up out of here. Save face. And, yeah, you're not wrong for thinking the way you're thinking, though. A lot of coaches do that. When Urban – every time he stepped down for health reasons, I believe, you know, he had some stuff going on, but he could have figured it out still while coaching the Gators. So you're not wrong, bro, for this.
Yeah.
But you should be happy he left y'all, you know. The NFC South is looking very winnable. If Brady leaves too, the NFC South is looking very winnable.
I mean, that is true. We got one game off of him this year. Like him being there and not me. Like, yeah, he has had our number for, you know, since they've gotten there, since they had Drew and everything. So I am a little happy about it. But at the same time, it's just like, come on, like you decide now to dip, like when stuff getting a little tough, facing a little adversity. But you know, I'm fine with it as a whole. But at the same time, it's like it just seemed like a cop out. But you know. It's neither here or there. In a sense, it's a win-win for me. But you know, I just feel like something going on there. But like you said, I can understand like that aspect of it. But like you said, I think it's just like it could be something, but it's like something he can figure out, but something he just don't want to figure out, and he wants to use it as an excuse. Just I'm gonna just step down for now. But you know, it's whatever. You know, it's fine. Sean Payton, you can go to Cowboy Nation, wherever you want to go next year. It'll be all right. Leave that city hanging. They're gonna hate you forever. You know, New Orleans people would be in their feelings sometimes too. Like, you know how they've been getting on Eli Apple since Eli Apple done said something about them, about their city stink and their food trash and all of that. So, you know, they not with nobody that ain't with them, which is understandable. But you know, it's whatever. But I think that does it for today. Anything that we missed? Anything we ain't hit on?
Nah, bro, great show. Leading up to championship weekend. Wish my team was here, but we'll be here in about 2 years. Looking forward to 2 great games again, and you know, coming back with a show next week, recapping the games and talking about the Super Bowl.
For sure. Like I said, shout out to Off the Ball Network and shout out to one of our sponsors, Built Bar. Can't forget to shout them out. If you go to built.com, you'll get 10% off when you use all caps Off the Ball. Like you see, they have a bunch of flavors. They got a mixery box, they got a mix box, they got coconut, they got cookies and cream, they got anything and everything you could think of. I think chocolate and peanut butter. They have any and everything you could think of. Mint chocolate chip, like try it. Like I said, it looks good. And honestly, like I said, the packaging looks great, the box looks great, everything looks great. It looks tasty to me. Like I said, and it's healthier for you than obviously just your regular old granola bar or regular old Snickers bar. So definitely go to built.com. 10% off when you use all caps Off the Ball. So definitely, like I said, shout out to Off the Ball Network. Definitely, I'm sure we'll have some type of recap show. I don't think we'll have See You Sunday this upcoming Saturday, but if we do, I'll definitely be on it. I'm sure that will make an appearance as well. If not, there's some Super Bowl shows coming up this week. We'll do some props, some betting, obviously some recapping, and you know, talking the biggest storylines as well. But until next time, we'll see you guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for those that are tuning in afterwards, that's listening to us on Apple, Spotify, wherever the case may be. Appreciate all the support, appreciate all the love, and we'll be back with another episode next week. See y'all next time and have a good one.